experience the 4 a.m. club, experience the dreaming women.
Apologies for the awkward cut on this. I do not know how to stitch more than 5 seconds. Someone please tell me. That whole video is beautiful, and I have very little to add because what she expressed in that video was so beautiful and so perfect. That is Nina, your witchy healer. If you're not following her already, you should. She's incredible. And that's really all I wanted to say about this, is that having psychic friends is the best. Being surrounded by wise women is so incredible because when we get together, we have conversations like these. I was talking with her about her earlier video, I don't know, a week or so ago, where she talked about maybe some of the shadows that were coming up when some of us Dreaming Women came together and we announced Dreaming Women Council, that it maybe caused a bit of an ick for some people who bristled at this appearance of leadership, maybe seniority. There were some feels in the collective about this. She had this really beautiful video where she talked about it. It was both about the shadows that come up when we get that ick, but as well as that we're doing matriarchy. And matriarchy is not patriarchy. Patriarchy makes us be competitive with one another, but in matriarchy, we're not competitive, we are collaborative. So we were chatting and I was saying how great that video was, and it was this discussion about how we are trying to find our way again, or maybe for the first time. Because for those of us in our lifetimes, we've never lived matriarchy, at least not widespread. We've lived in this structure, and you've heard me talk about it before. It's a pyramid, and there are a few people at the top, and they hold all the power. And so if you want power, Daisy's trying to make her way in here. If you want power, you have to fight for it, and you have to play the game in order to earn your right to be there or fight for your proximity to power. And because we've all been born and raised in that system, we know how to work that system. Like we've learned how to survive in that system. So that can kind of be our default setting by necessity, by survival. And so now as we're going forward and things are changing and we want more change, we're having to learn how to do it. And as we feel triggered by certain things, that can point us to where in our, whether in our past or actually in our present, we're still trying to fight our way out of the old power structures. And that ick is showing us where we're triggered back into the old ways. What's really ironic is when people struggle with this kind of dynamic and the jealousy, they call it like high school mean girl shit, which I think is so fascinating. That whole high school mean girl dynamic is actually patriarchy. That's a male dominated system in which women are behaving in a way that is competitive. That's not how women are. That's how patriarchy has forced us to be. Our true feminine nature, and by the way, we're not just talking about female bodies, male bodies, gender binaries. We're talking about energy and a gender as an idea and as an energy, okay? So true feminine nature is flowing, it's receptive, it's reciprocal, it's collaborative. While male energy is more direct, sorry, you can hear the dog walking around. It's direct, it can be more aggressive, more assertive. So in the times now and the times to come, we are learning how to be feminine outside of patriarchy. And as we do that, we're going to be triggered by all the ways that remind us of what the old system, the wounds that we accrued in that old system, as well as we're having to learn what to do, how to do it in a different way. So as Nina and I were talking, I got this, it was this download. It did come as this flash of an insight that was about, patriarchy also is about a broad control. So big systems with a lot of people shoved under one leader or a small subset of leaders, where I was seeing this vision of all these different fires, like council fires and tribal fires and bonfires. And they're just spread out across the land, and they're all there and they're all open. And so someone can walk around and wander, and they can sit down at this fire and they can listen to this wise person or get ideas from this group of people. And then they can get up and they can go to the next fire and listen to those ideas and take those in. And I was saying that's really what I see. The beauty of the 4 a.m. club is that there's no one central leader. I think I accidentally started it. I did begin calling us that and sending out the rallying cry. But as I said early on and in many of my videos, it's not about I'm the boss of this club and you have to listen to me. No, it's about realizing we all had this collective experience, and thus we all have our wisdom about it to share. Now, some of us in the 4 a.m. club as creators have gotten bigger followings. Some of us are maybe not even posting, but it doesn't make any insight greater than the other, just because of how many people are following us. No. It just might be that at a time my bonfire is pretty bright, so lots of people can see that fire and they want to come and sit around it and hear what I have to say. But it doesn't begin and end there, because then they get to wander around and they get to hear what Nina has to say, and Magical Mimi and Sam and Ethical and all the different people who've been sharing. And then here's the biggest thing, the biggest part of that download for me in that conversation. That's only the beginning of this process. That's where it begins, is we learn from each other and we sit and we share ideas. But then we get up and we leave those bonfires and we walk home and we start our own fire. Under patriarchy, one person allegedly has rule over thousands, maybe millions of people. But I am seeing, what I was seeing in this emergence of matriarchy is that we are meant to have infinite small hearth fires, where the women get to rise and have more prominence in their homes, in their families, in their communities. As we go out and learn from others and sit at their bonfires, then we come home and we decide, okay, now that I've learned that and I've taken that in, how do I want to use that to start my own fire? These fires are the metaphor, of course, for your wisdom. Everything that I'm sharing and everything else is sharing, it's not meant to put us on some pedestal. We're sharing ideas that then you can take to use if you want to or not, and use them in your own way that sparks your own wisdom, so that then you can lead at your fire. I'm sure that idea is what was percolating when I made my video the other day talking about this new vision I have from leadership that's based on councils, which, by the way, is something a lot of people have been getting intuitively and speaking about. But I played with this idea of councils and talked about doing it based on demographics and not geographics. So it's clear that the new really is taking shape here, as so many of us are getting these ideas and we're playing with them and we're wondering what it means, and then we're adding to it and we're sending it back out there. Magical Mimi did a really beautiful post the other day, a pendulum post, where a lot of us in the 4 a.m. club were called out, as like called out in a good way, as being leaders of the new, which was so like humbling and exciting. But that's what I see already happening. We've been doing that. I doubt I will ever rise any ranks politically, but I'm sitting here lighting up my bonfire and sharing my wisdom, and so are all of you. And as we get to flit around and visit each other's bonfires, we all grow. We all get warm, to use the metaphor. We're all growing because of what we're sharing. And then when we go back into our own circles, our own councils, our own communities, we are then richer and wiser and can use that wisdom to lead the people in our own lives.